How many of you listen to music every day or have been involved in music at some point in your life? Now think about a time or the ways that music may have impacted your life. According to MayoClinic.com, 2024, listening to and engaging in music has many emotional and behavioral benefits. With how prevalent music is in our life, aren't you interested to know how it affects humans? I grew up with music as a huge part of my life. I was involved in choir for the past 16 years, and I've also been involved in musical theater, opera, and a sprinkle of marching band. It has gotten me through some incredibly emotional times and some physically trying times after surgeries, and has gotten me through postpartum depression and regular depression. Music can affect the mind and body. Today I will be discussing how music affects your mind and body. First, I will talk about where music can be utilized and how it is effective there. Then I will talk about how music affects the brain and mind. Then I will talk about how music affects the body. Now that you're informed of the overview of what I'll be talking about today, I will begin with talking about where music can be utilized. Music is prevalent all over the world and in many different cultures, settings, and places. But I will be discussing more close to home. Schools is where I will be talking about. According to SaveTheMusic.org, last updated October 2021, children who participate in music in school have more social emotional skills, self-perseverance, and teamwork skills. Music shows something about who we are as people, and music can help us express ourselves in many ways by creating music, by the instruments we play, and by even the music we listen to. Students who attend school have been shown to have better attendance than students that don't participate in music. I meant to say participate in music. There was a study conducted by SaveTheMusic.org where they researched students at a school that had a decent music program and they had good attendance, whereas a school that did not have a decent music program did not have as good attendance. Next, I'll be moving on to explain how music affects the brain. Music affects the brain in many different ways, whether it's with your mental health, with your memory, and it even is especially prevalent for people who live with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. People who live with Alzheimer's disease, they still have their musical memories because the part of the brain that holds the memories is not affected by the disease. Only other parts of the brain are. So that's especially helpful for them because they can use music to be able to communicate with their caregivers, communicate with family members. They also can use music to be able to express themselves and calm themselves down and do what they need to do to take care of themselves. And because music is stored in a part of the brain that still remembers things, they're able to play music from years ago that they still remember and be able to play it the same way they did years ago. Music is also helpful for people living with mental health issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, or trauma like PTSD. It has been shown by psychiatry.org that they did a research study on people living with trauma, and they were able to reprocess their brain, rethink of new ideas when they listen to music, so that they're processing their trauma in different ways and in a more positive way. Music has also helped to normalize the stigma of mental health, like big name artists like Demi Lovato and Adele coming forward and talking about their own mental health challenges with addiction and depression. They were able to talk about how they used music to help get them through those mental health challenges. Finally, let's look at how music affects the body. Music affects many healing factors of the body. PubMed, published in 2024, did a research project on patients who had just had surgery postoperatively. They had a group of patients that would listen to music right after surgery and a group of patients that did not listen to music after surgery. but both set of patients were still able to have the option to have painkillers or narcotics as a pain option. They realized with their research that people who listened to music did not use painkillers as much as people who did not listen to music. And ambulation, which is walking after surgery, is a very important step in your healing journey after surgery. And they noticed that the patients who listened to music while ambulating were able to ambulate better than the patients who were not ambulating. They also reported that patients who listened to music had a much lower pain level than those who did not listen to music. The research at the end was a little bit skewed because the end of the research ended because of the pandemic starting, and they also had a few patients that left AMA, which is against medical advice, so they lost some patients. With everything we have discussed tonight, we can gather that music affects the mind and body in many different ways. I've explained where we can find music and how it affects the mind and body. I have explained how music affects the mind and body, and I've explained how music affects the body physically. To summarize, I think it's important to note that music can be a really impactful resource to use for people living with physical health problems, mental health problems, and to be used to improve brain function. Thank you.